When Kathy and Brandon Gunn stood together on their wedding day, surrounded by family, laughter, and the sweet scent of flowers, they never imagined one small package would follow them through the next decade of their marriage, like a silent shadow. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Daily Dose, like, and share this video. Among the many gifts they received, kitchen appliances, home decorations, and envelopes filled with cash, there was one that stood out. It was a plain white box, carefully wrapped and tied with an envelope attached to the top. The handwriting was neat but firm, the kind of writing that carried weight. It was from Kathy's great-aunt Allison, a woman known in the family for her quiet wisdom. On the envelope were written the words, "Do not open until your first disagreement." At first, Kathy and Brandon laughed. It was a clever idea, they thought, a little mystery tucked away for the future. But as time passed, that box became something more than just a wedding gift. It became a reminder, a test, and in a way, a mirror of their own marriage. Like all couples, Kathy and Brandon were not strangers to disagreements. There were slammed doors, silent treatments, and late-night arguments that left both of them lying awake in separate corners of the bed. There were moments of exhaustion, of frustration, and even times when walking away seemed easier than staying. Yet through all of that, the white box sat quietly on a shelf in their closet, untouched. Every time they argued, their eyes would drift toward it. Was this the moment? Was this the fight Aunt Allison had meant? But both of them always hesitated. They feared that opening it would mean admitting defeat. To them, breaking the seal on that package wasn't just about curiosity. It was like saying, we couldn't do it on our own. And so the box remained sealed, gathering dust as the years slipped by. 9 years later, Kathy found herself one evening tucking their children into bed. Their little girl was 6 now, full of energy and questions, while their youngest was 3 and still clung to her with small, sticky hands. After bedtime, she joined Brandon outside on the deck. The night was calm, the air cool, and the two of them shared a bottle of wine under the stars. Their conversation turned to an upcoming wedding in Kalamazoo, the town where they had once been college students, carefree and young. As they debated what gift to bring the couple, Kathy found herself reflecting on the many presents they had once received as newlyweds. She tried to remember which ones had truly mattered. Slowly, her mind wandered back to the box, the unopened gift. She chuckled softly and told Brandon, "You know, the gift that meant the most is still sitting in the closet, unopened." Brandon smiled, knowing exactly what she meant. They both laughed, but in that laughter was a quiet realization. For nearly 9 years they had carried that box with them through 3 moves, countless ups and downs, and every test marriage could throw their way. Yet they had never once reached for it. And now, sitting under the night sky, they realized it was time. With glasses of wine still in hand, Kathy disappeared into the house and returned a moment later, holding the box. It was lighter than she remembered. They set it between them, almost hesitant, as though opening it might break some spell that had kept them together. When they finally lifted the lid, what they found inside was not at all what they had expected. Inside the box, nestled carefully among tissue paper, were 2 handwritten envelopes, one addressed to Kathy, the other to Brandon. Their hands shook slightly as they opened the notes, as though they were unsealing a secret message from the past. Kathy's note was simple but thoughtful. It instructed her to go and buy a pizza, shrimp, or something she and Brandon both loved. Brandon's note was just as practical and sweet. It told him to buy flowers and a bottle of wine. Beside the notes were a few more treasures, a crystal flower vase, 2 delicate crystal wine glasses, scented bath soap, lotion, and a small container of bubble. It was clear what Aunt Allison had intended. She had packed the box with everything a couple might need to smooth over an argument, to find their way back to each other, and to remind themselves of love when it felt distant. For a moment, both Kathy and Brandon sat in silence. They had built up the mystery of this gift for nearly a decade, imagining it contained some secret key to marriage, some profound wisdom wrapped in paper. Yet what they found was both simple and profound at the same time. Kathy laughed softly, shaking her head. "All these years we thought this box was the answer, that it was the cure for every disagreement." Brandon reached for her hand. "And all this time it was really just us." As they looked back on the years they had spent together, they realized something extraordinary. The unopened gift had unknowingly taught them patience, tolerance, and resilience. Each time they argued and considered opening it, they stopped to ask themselves, is this really the worst? Do we truly need help? Or can we work through this ourselves? And every time, they chose to work through it. In doing so, they had built a marriage rooted in compromise, laughter, and shared strength. Kathy later reflected on the moment in a heartfelt post that went viral on social media. To us, opening the box would have meant that we didn't have what it takes to make our marriage work. We became too stubborn and determined, she wrote. So instead, the box made us pause, made us think, and reminded us that no fight was worth giving up. In the end, the true gift wasn't the items inside the package. It was the lessons the unopened box had forced them to learn. That love isn't about perfection, but about showing up again and again, even in the hard moment. Aunt Allison's gift, in its own quiet way, had done exactly what she hoped it had guided them, not through its contents, but through its silence. The white box, once a mystery gathering dust in the back of their closet, had become a symbol of their journey. It reminded them that the strongest marriages are not built on avoiding disagreements, but on learning to face them together. Looking back, Kathy smiled as she realized the truth. The tools for creating and maintaining a strong, healthy marriage were never within that box, they were within us, she wrote. That night, as they clinked their glasses together and laughed over the unexpected simplicity of Aunt Allison's gift, Kathy and Brandon finally understood what their great-aunt had wanted them to see all along. Love is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about building something strong enough to withstand the imperfect ones. And so, after nearly a decade, the box had finally been opened, not because their marriage was breaking, but because it was stronger than ever. The ending was not about a secret recipe for happiness hidden in a box. It was about the realization that the real secret had been in their hearts the whole time: patience, kindness, forgiveness, and the courage to never give up on each other. For Kathy and Brandon Gunn, the unopened gift had become one of the greatest presents they had ever received. And for anyone who hears their story, it carries a timeless message sometimes. The greatest treasures in life aren't found inside a box, but in the love, patience, and resilience we carry within ourselves.